This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of the Long Run Podcast. We are joined by someone really special who I know you're going to absolutely love his story and his background. But first up, we have got to introduce, I am being joined by someone who's being rather quiet and normally jumps straight in, but literally decided at the last second they'd let me do the intro. So let's welcome the main man himself, FORDY. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. I've got my aircon unit here, and it's at lowest power, so people can't hear that it's on. But it's, to be perfectly honest with you, I might as well have like a bird just with a fan. I'm get that much air out of it. But yes, evening everybody. Welcome. You're listening to this on Friday, so hopefully it's cooled down by Friday. But yeah, anyway, yeah, we've got Pete down here. So you want to introduce him, Hayden?
I can do. As I said at the start of the show, we have an absolute. Oh, I'd go.
Legend.
Yeah, definitely go as far as legend. He's gone past that legend status. We welcome the man who brought us the training app COOPAH, Mr. Pete Cooper. How are you, mate?
Very well, mate. Very well. Thanks for the intro. I don't think I've ever been introed as a legend, so I feel like I'm on Gareth Southgate territory now. Happy days.
Easily you are, mate. So we are going to be talking tonight about your story, about really, I suppose, why you are here on this podcast and why you're joining up and what you're going to be working with 40 Runs running community. So we are so excited about this. But I think at the top of the show, Chris, we've got a lot of admin to do.
Yeah, we've got the usual stuff. This is obviously sponsored by Skechers. Thank you very much to skechers.co.uk. Go over to them. Make sure you use the code. I keep forgetting these. Start Fitness, use the code 40 runs. Kendall, use the code 40 runs. COOPAH, use the code 40 runs too. See what I did there, Pete? Because they'd have had all the stuff by now. We'll come on to that. And I think there's probably more, but I've forgotten them. I'm just, to be perfectly honest, I'm just sweating. And I think that's going to be a theme throughout this show. And I apologise now for it. But I'm genuinely excited about having Pete on, because not only is the app awesome and it helps so many people and all that sort of stuff, and it makes you pretend he's not listening, but he's actually just a genuinely nice guy, which in the industry that we work with, there's so much BS out there. And so many people who are not doing it for the right reasons. When we talk to Pete, and I know he's in there, but yeah, pretend he's not. I think you'll all agree, if you're listening to this or watching this, that you'll agree with me that he's a top guy. So, okay, Hayden, how much are you going to grill him out of 10?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see what his answers are like first. If he comes back with a bit namby-pamby answers, we're going to go in hard. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Pete, are you nervous about this?
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's a challenge, isn't it? Get out of my comfort zone.
Okay, right. So, how we usually do this, you got off lightly because we usually record these live and anything can happen. Like Buddy could start barking in the garden, our internet could crash, Nick could come through the door and go, what's going on with the dishwasher? Anything could happen, right? So if it happens your end, don't worry, we can edit it out. But I think for me, the biggest thing I want people to take away from, apart from obviously the technology, we'll come on to that, is about your story. I think, hey, that's probably a good place to start, would you say?
Absolutely. People need to hear the backstory, and then we move on to actually what COOPAH is, because I'm pretty sure as we people listening tonight are thinking, what's COOPAH? Because by now, as you said, FORDY, people are going to already know about our awesome news that's coming out in a couple of days, because we are a few days early. So yeah, we definitely need to hear a bit of background, what's going on, what you do, Pete, and who you are as a person.
And how it all started. So imagine it's like BC before COOPAH. See what I did there? So BC. So it's 1999 BC or whenever it started. When did COOPAH start?
COOPAH started as a run club. It started in 2018, and then the app went live in January 2022. So we don't have a run club now. Which we'll get on to talking about.
So this is January 2022 BC.
Yeah,
you're just about to launch. So tell everybody what happened before COOPAH. Who are you and where did you come from?
So I was born in a little town called Oakhampton on the middle of Dartmoor. Quite often voted the worst town in Devon. So people say like, "Oh, you're from Devon, it must be wonderful," and I send them the link which talks about the local nightclub and why it's the worst town in Devon. So yeah, not quite as picturesque as people know it. Yeah, very well famous for the Marines going down for their army training.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very famous for that, which obviously shows it must be one of the bleakest places in England if it's where for training to go to war. Yeah, grew up there, went to my local school, did all right, spent a lot of times outside of the lessons and the lessons I didn't enjoy, and spent a lot of time inside on the ones I enjoyed, which was pretty much PE and business. Then ended up working for Expedia, which took me traveling a lot. So yeah, worked for Expedia in the travel industry, and my 6 weeks into that business, I just moved to London, like kind of fresh young kid in London. I was 22, and I got the news that my mum had had a heart attack. So had to drive down in the middle of the night from London to Exeter, where she was. And after 2 weeks of her being in a coma, we had to make the decision to turn her life support off. And for me, running with my mum was kind of what we did together. So I used to play cricket and football; they were my sports. Bit of table tennis, but yeah, mainly cricket and football. But I went to watch my mum run in Boston Marathon, and I was like, bloody hell, this is amazing. It's like she's a celebrity. Like everyone is screaming her name. And at this point, I must have been about 16, 17, and I'd realised I wasn't going to make it as a professional footballer or cricketer. I'd messed up my trials. I just wasn't good enough, is the honest answer. And then I was like, I need to get into this running. So she was on the mission to become, I think she was going to be like the 200th person to do the world majors. It was back when I think they were still actually posting out the medals. And then I think the year she died was the first year they actually did that whole, like, where it became more of a brand. So we went out to Berlin together, and she had a really bad run. I didn't train, and I beat her, which I'm really proud about, because I've only ever run a marathon with my mum once, and I beat her. So she'll hate that, but I love that forever. And she then went and did the Great West Run down in Exeter. Had a really bad run, collapsed at the end of it, and that kind of led on to the heart attack and stuff. So I then started getting tested for a rare heart condition called ARVC, which is basically where the right side of your heart is enlarged and it struggles to pump blood and oxygen to your heart. I think that's right. I tend to turn off when the doctors talk. I'm going to run. And they told me, you can't run, you can't do physical exercise until you kind of get written off. And they were like, do you do much running? I was like, well, I just got into marathon running, so I guess so. And they were like, right, you can't do that. Anyway, I didn't listen, went out to Rotterdam, ran a marathon with my best mate there, and turned out he ran it with a brain tumor and passed away as well. So a few months later, he passed away. And the last ever time I saw him was when England, we were out in Nice, and it was under Roy Hodgson when we lost to Iceland. So whenever I hear that hand clap, I'm like, no, just get away. Very bad memories. And I ran the Rotterdam Marathon with him. So I was very much like, bloody hell, if anyone runs a marathon with me, I am bad luck. So never, ever run a marathon with me is kind of my messaging. So yeah, that's kind of BC, and I'm sure we'll touch a bit more on the story later. But yeah, that was kind of, that's kind of my story pre BC, I guess.
Where on earth do we start to unpick any of that? That is just unbelievable. There's one thing actually. There's a few similarities here. You spent more time out of the classroom than in the classroom. Done a lot of travelling. Bit of a wide boy in the city. This is sounding really familiar. Can you think
anyone like that?
I'm not sure, but it sounds like an interview we've had in the past.
I don't know anybody who was a bit like that. The similarities continue, Pete. I swear, I think we were separated at birth.
Also outside for too much talking.
Yeah, but I had undiagnosed ADHD, so I can now look back and get away with murder, because I'll just go, I was ADHD, can't do nothing about it, sorry. So happy days, right? So I just pull that little gem out of the closet every time someone goes, oh yeah. So yeah, no, but very similar. Spent more time, yeah, and again out of class, but then going in for the stuff I enjoy, business as well, sports, and then yeah, and that sort of thing. But yeah, just doing other things were more interesting than sitting in class. And yeah, but I muck about, but a lot of that was my ADHD, and I never knew that's what that was back then. Yeah. So you then So at what point? So 2022 came along. So then, how did you get onto like creating this like totally awesome app that like everybody uses, and like if you're training for the London Marathon, people start using it? And I mean, how did you get from that to there? It's nuts.
Yeah. So how did I get from kind of 2022 to London Marathon, or how did I get to 2022?
Yeah, I mean, let's break. What do you think, Hayden? Break it down.
Yeah, I want to know really what made you think about COOPAH. Where is that coming from? 2022, just about to launch. Just before this, what made you come up with this idea, and what is the driving? Obviously, we can know what the driving force is. What made you come up with this idea?
Yeah, so I remember when my mum was like in hospital, I'd go out pretty much every day for a run, and it was kind of the only time I got on my own and away from kind of my dad and brother, and I'd go out for tiny runs, and I think that's where I was starting to realize my mum was going to die, but I wouldn't tell everyone. And even on the drive to when the doctor said, look, we're going to turn, you come back to my hotel, and we live about 50 minutes from the hospital, even on the way I was going in the back of the car, we're going to get there. She's a fighter, like she runs marathons, and we're going to get there and everything's going to be fine. She's going to have this like amazing turnaround. And obviously she didn't. And we went and said our goodbyes and, you know, pray that she heard what we said and stuff. But I was like, I'm going to finish the major marathons for you. So she had New York, Chicago and Tokyo left. Luckily I didn't have to qualify for Boston, but basically that didn't happen at all. Moved back to London and just went out drinking all the time, and that's how I coped with it. And that's why my best mate, I still think, kind of rang and said I want to do Rotterdam Marathon, because he wanted to get me out and he wanted to get me kind of running and doing what he knew I loved. And one of the last things he ever said to me was take care, like look after yourself. And I was like, I always think back and I'll never forget that. I bet I could go back to Nice and tell you exactly where he said look after yourself. And I didn't. I kind of completely went off the rails, and it was actually got to the point where I was going to take my own life. And luckily I didn't, because my wife came in. She was my partner at the time, and she said, "Why haven't you gone to get the flight? I was meant to be flying to Ukraine that day." And I was like, I can't. If I do this, I've planned it. I'm going to jump in front of a tube. And I think that was then the turning point. So she was like, look, you've got to go and get therapy. And I instantly got diagnosed with clinical anxiety, severe depression and OCD. And it was at that time when I was like, I ain't got a mental health problem. Mental health's weak. Like, I haven't got it, even though I knew it. But back then people still didn't speak. And I remember trying to open up when I'd got diagnosed with it to my mate. And he was like, nah, mental health's like a fashion statement at the moment. It's not a thing. So I did what I did best and got absolutely hammered. A lot of Jaeger bombs drank that night. And then from there, I kind of realized there was this perfect espresso martini with like antidepressants, talking, which is therapy, and running. And I put them all three together, and it was just like the best drink or the best drug you could ever take in your life. Like, I was going out running, it was clear in my head. I'd forget I was on these antidepressants, and slowly I was working my OCD away. And my OCD was always like, if I didn't touch something or do something 3 times, something bad would happen. And when I actually tried for a week to stop that, that was when my mum died. So I blamed myself for kind of probably 3-4 years, and said the reason my mum's died is because I didn't touch. And I remember it was my cricket bag zip that I tried to stop touching 3 times, and I used to blame myself forever for that. So I was like, right, I need to sort myself out. I need to go and enter New York, Chicago and Tokyo and enter. And every time I tried to run, I just couldn't stick to a training plan. And it was back in the day when all it was training PDF plans. So you'd go on a charity website and it was a PDF plan. You'd go on London Marathon's website and it was a PDF plan. And I was like, this is all shit. And I was like, I need to sort this. And then I thought it must just be my OCD. I've also got ADHD. I was like, it must just be me and my stupid mind. But then more and more mates were like, oh, I'm not going to do that half that I've entered, because I just couldn't stick to training. And I was like, look, if I could build this like habit forming app that just makes running like a habit and make it consistent, would you use it? And then they said, yeah. They were like, I think there's a market there for it. And there was kind of Runkeeper at the time, like Run Club, but they were very static PDF plans, just in a really nice UI UX. So I got made redundant, and it was like the best thing that ever happened to me. COVID, like, got made redundant from Expedia, and I was like, this is my time. And I turned to some of the board members at Expedia, got made redundant, and said, look, going to build this app. I've got this co-founder who's built and sold a few businesses. Like, I need some cash. And 3 of them gave me some cash. It wasn't a lot of money at all. And that was the start of COOPAH as you see today.
That's amazing.
Wow, what a story.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? Okay, that's really important, right? Because that's why, I mean, I don't know, just so people know the story. I mean, it's an incredible, it's incredible. It's inspiring, it's sad, it's emotional, but also it's got everything like that British determination about it as well. And it's like that underdog story, but filled with, like, say, so much emotion. And but also, like as you said, Pete, the goodness, wrong word, but that can come from running, yeah, and that the mental health, as you say, like no one used to speak about it, no one, and now, you know, fashion, well, everyone's got ADHD, every Tom, Dick, and Harry's getting diagnosed and all this sort of stuff, right? That's great, crack on. But back then, you know, a lot of people, myself, we didn't know what that was, yeah, we just was having to deal with it, you know. Like I said, Hayden knows the story. I went to the doctor, said, I'm feeling a bit like, you know, on the edge here, like really like on the edge. Oh, you'll be all right. Everyone has ups and downs. You're like, what? Do you know what I mean? And I'm sitting in front of that train going, oh, do I? Don't I? You know, sort of thing, you know? And, you know, you can't help but still have those thoughts on those days when everything's like massive overwhelm. I mean, you know, you resonate with it. And there's still those thoughts that come through. Should I get in front? No. And then you take that step back because you know it's your ADHD, you know, whatever, you know, process you're working through in your therapy. But back then, nobody knew what it was. And running, this is where I'm going, running was that sort of thing that sort of, for me, like you, kept me on track. And until I found that, I was an arsehole. Like, major arsehole. You know, Hayden, you think I'm bad now. I'm telling you, right?
I didn't want to say.
I was not very nice, you know, money, you know, arrogance, had everything in the world. But I was a total prick. But it was because I was masking all day. Yeah, because I was dealing with this and I never knew anything about it. So again, that's the power of running. But to hear that then come into funnel into a project and then what's come out at the other end, well, that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to emotions. Well, me and Chris have had this conversation loads of times. We have like we did with yourself. We have had meetings during the week with loads and loads of different brands over the past few years, and literally afterwards we like message each other. And the biggest word that comes out of so many of them is hollow. Some of these brands, some of these companies, some of these they're just hollow. They're empty. There's nothing there. They're just a name. They're just an idea. We either do it or we don't. Crack on. Let's make some money. Let's do it. That's their attitude, their ethos. Whereas then you've got the flip side, which is this, which is filled with emotion, with genuine stories and passion. And this is just everything. Why, the minute we spoke to you, literally the messages afterwards, we didn't even need to we just knew straight away. Love it. Absolutely brilliant.
Thanks, mate.
That's what it's all about. It's incredible. And I hopefully the people realise, like, listen to this now. And then if they didn't, they then go, no, look. So, right. You've now got all this money from all these heroes. You've got you blacked some dosh. I mean, where do you go from there?
Yeah, so we literally went, and by the way, like, I'm not from like family money background, anything like that. Like, it's literally like I've grafted. I knew some people with money got made redundant too, and I was like, you just got to trust me. And I went, there's a 99% chance you're going to lose your money, but like, trust me. So we went and built like a minimum viable product, and then just tried to get like 50 people to use the app and say, just constantly feedback, constantly tell me, like, to me, running is medicine. Is COOPAH your medicine? Like, can you keep going on the app and running? And like, is running becoming consistent? And then we got that, and then it just grew from there. And it kind of was very much, the first year was fucking so hard. Like, I hope we can swear on it.
Yeah,
it was so hard because it was just like, we haven't got a load of money to just tell people who we are. And we had to come up with these crazy ideas. So on like Blue Monday, which is obviously the most depressive day of the year, or in my eyes, it's just the way a travel company wanted to do some marketing and make people book holidays.
Yeah.
We put together a load of bananas, 1,000 bananas, which I went down to a market and bought off one of the traders down there. And we wrote like really powerful messages on the bananas. And then we put a QR code on the banana and went and handed out 1,000 bananas on Tooting comments saying, you're running, you're like, you've overcome the most depressive day of the year. keep running. But then people would download the app and be like, this is shit. Like, it does a little bit, but it's not very good. And like, now people come up to me, like, you know, if I'm at Tooting Park Run, and they're like, do you know what, you gave me a banana and like that kept me running, and now your app's what keeps me running. So they didn't use the app, but then 2 years later they're like revisited that app because they've seen it advertised somewhere, and they're now using the app. And that's like, again, it's just that British determination. Like, we've got to keep going. Like, if we can just get our message out there that running is medicine, and as an app it means so much more. Like, I wake up every day wanting to make people active and make them a better person of themselves, and that's my driver. And I think, yeah, that's kind of it. It's just like, we can do so much more. And then as we started to get more and more people on the app, obviously more people knew about it, and then we managed to raise a little bit more money. And now obviously we are partners of London Marathon as well, which a lot of people think we're sponsors of, but we're not. We're actually like
I know
partners. Like, they've like invested in us, and so we're actually technically we're part of the London Marathon group as well, which is amazing. And that, like, a lot of people were like, what would be your dream? And I was like, imagine if like just one day London Marathon offered it to their customers, and then after 18 months we managed it. And I was like, wow, like, this is incredible.
Pete, can I ask you just one question really quickly for the viewers, just in case people are listening and they're getting so caught up with the emotion, I don't really know. So you sound like you've been on The Apprentice, I say. In 60 seconds, give us a complete rundown. Just tell us what the app is, what it does, and who it's for. You've got 60 seconds, mate. Go on.
Yeah, so we're a run coaching app that provides personalised training plans for everybody of any standards. We've had people run a 2-hour 40 marathon all the way through to an 8-hour 50 marathon. And for us, running is for everybody, and we care as much about those people finishing in 9 hours as we do about those people finishing in 2 hours 40. And our plans adapt. They connect to like your Strava, your smartwatch, and then they adapt as you train. So hopefully as you get quicker, you see your plan adapting and getting faster for you. And the best thing about it is we offer a beat your goal guarantee. So I believe that if you bought a pair of running shoes and it got a hole in it, you'd send it back. It should be the same with your training plan. And if you back your plan that much and you're telling people they should give you money, then if they don't beat their goals on it, then you should give them a full refund. So we very much believe that people should be able to run a PB on their app. And in London Marathon this year, I think we saw 96.7% of people beat their target.
Jesus.
So yeah, it was pretty incredible.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Like, and I think you're so right. I mean, again, coach's hat on right now. So again, if you're listening to this for the first time, whatever, I'm a qualified athletics and running coach, okay? And I write plans and I coach people and whatnot. Number one thing that I took from what you were saying was the consistency. We preach about that in terms of coaching. Consistency is king, right? If you can just get out and do 2 runs a week, but you can do them every week, like without fail, and you're going to slowly increase the speed or the distance or whatever you're doing in there, right? You're going to get better. You're going to get fitter. You're going to get to where you want to go, whether that is fast or you just want to improve your mental health, whatever that goal is. But being consistent is what will get you there. Being not consistent will probably get you in debt with the physio, because you're probably, chances are you're just going to keep spunking money at the physio's door, and they're going to give you some stretches you can do on YouTube, and probably won't fix the problem, because ultimately you not being consistent is what's ruining your body. Long story short. And I think to have a statistic like that from the London Marathon,
unbelievable.
That's unbelievable, bruv. You must be super proud of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what I think makes me more proud, is that consistent message, because that's what my mum always used to tell me, Pete, just run. Like, just the only way to get faster is to run. And I used to be like, nah, surely if I just walk up and it's a bit flatter, I'll get faster. But yeah, it's just like, if she's looking down and being like, you're making people run consistently, which is something that you could never do, and now you're doing it too. Like, yeah, so super proud of that fact. And for me, it's just seeing the emotion at people finishing. Like, it's a lot of pressure seeing all these thousands of people running London Marathon using your plans, and to see like them all, literally nearly all of them finish. We think one didn't finish. It's just like incredible that like we can, not only are they finishing, but they're beating their goals as well.
Yeah. So with the listeners, so what's coming is, obviously, most of you are going to guess, FORDY Runs Running Club is going to actually team up with COOPAH, and we're going to do some work together. So I need to ask the burning question, probably to you, FORDY, because people are going to be thinking this and asking it and thinking, so why would a qualified coach that provides training plans and has his own stuff, why would we want to team up as a running club with someone that can do the same thing? Are you both not in competition with each other?
Absolutely
FORDY, you go
not.
first.
Absolutely not. Because what Pete does and what COOPAH offers is accessibility to everybody, right? In this world that we live in, it's very expensive to go and get a coach, right? So to be able to say to, you know, Tom, Jerry, whoever, and they're up in Carlisle or they're over in Newport, here's access to a coaching app that is going to help you train for X, Y, and Z. Let's use London Marathon as an example, because for me, it's the pinnacle, right? I love London Marathon, as you can see behind, just there. But be able to give people that access at a price point, which I think is extremely competitive. Pete, what is it? Lowest price point?
$9.99
there we go.
A month.
Right. And that's a month.
Yeah, $59.99 a year. So
right. So
£5
a tenner, right? So instead of spending a tenner, right, on, I don't know, Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever, you can get off the couch, yeah, get out the front door and have something that's going to keep you accountable, that you can follow and get consistent, that will not only improve your health, but it'll improve your mental health. With that barrier to entry, for me, it's a no-brainer. Yes, we have, you know, the coaching that I do, but that's like having, as I said, that's like having Apple TV when you don't really need it. Do you know what I mean? It's a similar sort of thing. You don't need to have these things. And that's where I think the difference is. And what I like about it, is, as I said to you, is that accessibility, the ability, the fact that it's for everybody as well. As somebody who really truly believes in ultra inclusivity and no barrier to entry, right? That price point to get that technology to be able to then go out and better yourself, as Pete brilliantly said about, you know, the positive impact running can have, or physical exercise can have on your life, is incredible. And that is why we go down that road. Does that answer that question, Hayden?
Yeah, I think it does. I just know it'd be a burning question. People will be trying to balance up the two things. But as you said, they're almost two different ideas, you know. So this is where it's absolutely going to work perfectly with the 40 Runs running community, because everyone knows we are a community full of everyday runners and people that almost, a lot of people like the structure. A lot of people don't like the structure. But as you said, at that sort of price point, and I know Pete just quietly said it, but it's not just £10 a month. If you want to pay the 60 quid up front, that's £5 a month. £5 a month for almost like a personalised training plan and someone to keep you accountable.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to get that?
And to be honest with you, it's the one thing probably that I get most from when I take clients on, right? So I limit the amount of clients I have as a coach. First thing they said, most times out of 10, is that they need that accountability. They need that someone who's going to go, I've been out for a few days. What's going on there? But if you've got that on an app, you've got that on a system that you're logging into, it's on your phone, which most of us are, on the train or whatever, chances are that's going to flash up and you're going to go, right, I am actually going to get this. There's more internal pressure to go out and do that exercise than if you wasn't doing that. It's a lot easier if you're not within a plan. And the plan doesn't have to be a marathon training plan, people. It can be literally just like whatever. But to have that ability to keep yourself accountable at such a low price point will help you get better, get fast if you want to, lose the weight if you want to, just go out and exercise. Feel like you can go along and do park run. You know, that's the sort of thing that it's so powerful. Pete, in terms of the plans, right? What's the sort of, is there like literally like, I'm going to do Couch to 5K to you know, talk about, is there, in terms of access, what's there for everyone?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's one we get like a lot, and it literally is it's for anyone. So it's Couch to 5K. So if you want to say you want to do your first 5K in 50 minutes, an hour, you can put that in the plan. It's likely that a lot of it will be walking, but the plan is there for you because movement is what's key. If you can get out and walk a park run and then gradually move that from an hour to 50 minutes to 45 minutes, however that looks, then the plan's there. So yeah, it's anything from your first 5K all the way through to kind of like an ultra marathon. And how it kind of works is one of our coaches is James Thieves. He's constantly messaging at the moment because he's down in San Moritz with the Team GB team, and he's like, I've just paced Katie Snowden. She's looking good to win, and it's like, this is mental. Like, you're literally getting his brains into our training plans and all of his kind of methodology. And that's the thing, coaches, a lot of them all have different methodologies. And it's like, how do you access like FORDY, how do you access you? And then, you know, that you've got your price point, and that's because you know, you've trained for a long time to get that, and you've then got the reputation. And it's like, for us, it's like, how do we build thousands and thousands of different algorithms, so when you then come on, you get a different plan? And one of the keys for us is just making it super flexible. So if you're having a shit week, instead of going, a lot of the time you're like, I don't want to run, or I don't want to do what my plan is. Like I've had it before where I've woken up, I'm like, the last thing I need today is speed work. So you can just go onto the app and say, add an additional session, and you just go on and say what run you did. So there I'd be like, easy 30 minutes, because all I wanted to do was get out the house for 30 minutes, because that's my coping mechanism. Or maybe you want to do park run every week, so you can then put in that you want a weekly park run in the app. So every week on the app, we prescribe you, and I say prescribe because I think it's medicine, we prescribe you park run.
Brilliant.
Unbelievable. We do need to reiterate here and almost scream it from the as higher point as we can. This is the official training app for London Marathon.
Yeah, and there are other events. Don't forget. So you got Royal Parks, Brighton. If you're signing up for these events, you've got all the stuff with Run For All. So you've got Leeds Marathon, great example, an amazing event. What else, Pete? Talk to me.
London Landmarks, Cardiff Half. Obviously all the Run For All events. So York 10K I'm doing this Sunday, Leeds 10K, there's the Middlesbrough 5K 10K.
They're all over.
What else have we got? Loch Ness Marathons are up in Scotland now. So yeah, they're kind of, in fact, if you look at the marathons this year, you've got Yorkshire and Loch Ness in the UK in October, and we're the official training marathon for both of them. And I think this is the big thing, is the experts, the people behind those events, who it's important they get their runners to the finish line and they come back. They have chosen COOPAH as their preferred running app. And
so FORDY, that leads on to then. So you tell us, I know we're getting to the end of this, but now you tell us, how is the partnership going to work with COOPAH and the FORDY Runs running community? How do you see this? What are the benefits?
For me, it's being out, because we see so much chatter, we see so much comment, we see so much engagement around these training apps now, right? It is the new way, because the events are, and rightly so, are being now able to push that. I think that's a great thing, by the way, the fact that if you sign up for the London Marathon, you can go onto COOPAH and you can, get yourself a training plan, where before we don't get, the I don't know, what the off the shelf, from the internet and stuff like that. Now you can just go on and get, like, I don't know. Yeah, you just go COOPAH and go, like, thanks very much, here we go, sort of thing. And that was never accessible. So for me, as somebody who sees all that chat, to be able to go to our runners, you know what? This is the preferred option, because firstly, it's ridiculously cheap. But I still don't know it's so cheap. But two, it's going to be able to keep you consistent. It's going to be able to get you out the door. It's going to give you that accountability that you're probably looking for. And it is probably that reason that you keep showing up at the physio every week, that you're not able to progress. You may have flatlined. You may have plateaued. Again, constant thing that I get asked, I'm in a bit of a rut. I can't do it. We can now tell our runners, we're the largest club in the country. We have, I don't know, I don't even know the number, but let's say we're just within the satellite groups, the 60 satellite groups, and we have like 1,000 runners physically going out as part of the club every week, right? If we can give them an option to download COOPAH and go out and do that, because the price point's right and the accessibility's there, and there's going to be something on there for them, then that's got to be a winner, right? For me, I mean, that makes total sense to me. And I mean, Hayden, you're somebody from within the club. Well, what do you make of it? I mean,
yeah, well, absolutely. As you said, one of the biggest questions we spoke about this before is people are asking about coaching, about training apps. It's becoming a lot more fashionable. We won't go into other training apps because the conversation probably won't turn that great. But we all know everyone's out there. Everyone wants to better themselves, but as you say, it's accountability is such an important word, and this is something that is definitely going to help. But just the fact of us being aligned with your story, Pete, and where you've come from, what you've done, bringing you almost into the community and showing people what you've achieved. It just, I think you'll be absolutely brilliant for the community. It's great. So how do you see it, Pete, with people from COOPAH, with the running club? What way do you see the partnership with us?
Yeah, and I think you two have nailed how it will work well with FORDY Runs and COOPAH and for your community. But I think the other thing for me is when I was at the lowest, I needed to run on my own, but then I needed to run with people. That was my accountability. Like, I knew on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock I could go to a run club and there'd be running pals. And I don't believe there's anyone like your running pals. Like, they're a different breed. They're made like you. They dig in deep when they've seen you at your worst, for sure. And for me to be able to offer our community of runners, and we're very UK based and UK centric, that accessibility to 60 satellite run clubs around the country, I think that is a beautiful thing for us to say to our runners. If you want to go and connect with like-minded people, go down to that run club in Carlisle and go for a run with them, then that is for us what is going to be the real good benefit for our runners, is saying to them, you've now got this run club that you can go and run with. And we could connect with thousands and thousands of running clubs around the country, but they've got to pass our values test. And there's lots of things to partner with. We won't just partner with anyone and anyone. We've got to make sure and to do what you guys have done and build 60 run clubs which people turn up to and have that same value. I think people underestimate how hard that is, and I'm sure you've had run leaders who then leave, or the wrong people and the club just goes. And to have that confidence that there's Dave in Leicester and he can go off to the run club, or there's Hilda in Exeter, like, that is incredible. So what I'm most excited about is being able to say, and we have a 24-hour chat with coach function, so you can ask a question to a coach and they'll respond to you on the app, so you've got that kind of check-in factor. And we get a lot of questions of, should I join a local running club, or I'm struggling to get going, like how do I re-get going? And it could be as simple as, where are you based, have you seen this FORDY run club, go down and join them and have a run, and then that might be what gets their mojo back.
Exactly.
So it's so important. It could even be what saves their life. Like,
you ain't joking. You ain't joking. We've got people.
Being serious.
We've got this. We call it a global run club, and it's virtual. So it's people who can't get, like, maybe to a local satellite near us, or they like to solo run. Because I don't know, maybe they work to whatever, but they go out twice a week, and we give them some sessions to do. They crack on, and they light up the chat group like it's like Christmas, but genuinely, the friendships, there's a picture, right? Sammy, won't mind me saying, he lost his wife, like, she was part of the club, like, literally recently, and he connected with a guy called Adam. And it's probably strong to say save each other's life. I don't want to speak out of turn, but the connection has been so supportive for what's gone. And then they met for the first time ever running the London Marathon. And there's a picture of them cuddling, hugging, the emotion at our cheer station. And that's what that has created, that global run club. So forget the numbers. It doesn't matter if it's 1 million people in it. Just having those 2 people, that lives have now changed. And that's what you're saying. And that's really, really powerful. So I think we nailed it, boys. I think everybody now has been converted to our way of thinking. If you're not on the COOPAH app, you need to do it now. And you need to go onto the FORDYruns.com, head over there. You'll see it. There's a page with how you can sign up and all that sort of stuff. You need to do that immediately. If you are listening to this while you're running, wait till you get home. Okay, don't do that. And if you're driving, like Hayden listens to podcasts while he's driving, don't do it while you're driving, because we'll get told off, or Pete will. This fault. I want you to all sign up. It could be. I think, Hayden, am I wrong here? It's going to be mandatory in Malta. There's going to be a law put through.
I think Malta at a minimum. I think they're looking at about 6 or 7 countries.
6 or 7 countries. It's going to be actually the law to have COOPAH on your phone and to be running. But no disagreement there. So, but for me, I'm super excited. I think, honestly, we're going to turn everything upside down with this. I think it's going to be awesome. We're going to get into a lot of trouble, even more than we already are. All right, Hayden, are you going to take us out? Thanks,
I am. As I said, it's been so great to speak to you, Pete. We hadn't even spoke about the fact of you being a fellow 6-star finisher.
Oh, I like the way you've done that.
I'll get that in. There's so much to you, and as I say, people are going to get to know and hear a lot more about you, especially in the community. So thanks once again for coming on, sharing your story with us. And once again, we can't even just put into words the emotion behind the story and what you've done. You're an absolute top bloke, and it's really, really great to meet you. And I've now to say you could be part of our community. It's absolutely brilliant. We love it. So anyway, thanks.
And he's going to be at an event near you. Don't forget, we're going to get him out.
I am. It's already agreed, isn't there?
Yeah, no, we've got that. So we've got some stuff coming, people, where hopefully you'll get to meet the man himself. But also, yeah, we'll get everybody out and about as we always do.
So thank you everyone for listening. This is the Long Run Show. This will come out as a pre-record on Friday, August the 2nd, I believe. And
I'm glad you knew that. I didn't.
I know, it's all up here. I guessed it, to be fair. But anyway, thanks for listening, and we will catch up with you all very, very soon.
See you later.